A very, very max morning to everybody. And I just want to thank you and I want to greet you and I want to send my congratulations to all of you, Max International. And enjoy your celebrations. Just because we are in a lockdown, we're having a virtual thingy, but that doesn't mean we can't celebrate, can we? And so we have a very strange way because we are living in strange times, but then strange times and seasons of life will never change successful people and stop them from achieving their goals. Well, here we are. We are now, what? Bare months. And we may be working from home, we may be doing things that are virtual, but you might not have noticed this, but time passes by so fast. As a matter of fact, here in the Philippines, my friend now is seen all over the place. He's usually wearing orange or tangerine sweatshirt, but every time you see him, and then you hear him hum or sing a song containing the lyrics like, "Whenever I see girls and boys selling lanterns on the street," well, he strikes you with a sense of nostalgia, and he makes you look forward to the coming season, and you're going to be saying to yourself, "What? It's Christmas time." Well, time is passing by so fast. And somebody says, they say that time moves slowly, but time passes by so quickly. And I totally agree with that. And because time passes by so fast, please allow me to be one of the first people in your life this year to greet you Merry Christmas, all right? So, you have to remember what I'm going to say, because the first message I want to give you now is this. Please, please, please be safe. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Never let your guards down. Today, you have to be very intentional in staying healthy. And by the way, when I say healthy, it encompasses mental, spiritual, emotional health, and all of those things are to be highly considered. And we have to be very, very intentional with it. Life oftentimes brings us surprises that sometimes derail us or even floor certain people. You put yourself in my situation, for example. In the speaking business, I've oftentimes been invited to be the resource person for mass gatherings, both here and abroad. I mean, these are, start of the year sales rally, mid-year sales rally, kickoff rally, end of the year kickoff rally, sales conferences, business conferences, so forth and so on. And then suddenly all these things disappear. But wait, not so fast. I'm going to expound on this a little bit later. So, all of my book tours, all of my, I was supposed to go to the Middle East and Europe this year to speak to a lot of conferences there, and then they were gone. But watch this. Thank God for technology. You and I can still manage to be communicating together. And I just found out that through technology today, I'm actually reaching out to a lot more people. Well, last week I had the privilege to talk to about 5,000 OFW people from all over Europe. Next week or 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be talking to a lot of people in the Middle East section. So what does that mean? It simply means one thing. You and I, we adapt. ADAPT. That is one word that I want you to remember because it's going to form the very crux of what I will be presenting, but it is going to be the very thing that can take us from where we are to where we want to be. We adapt. Now, this quote that is attributed to Charles Darwin in the field of biology, however, a lot of scholars today are refuting it. They're claiming that, no, Charles Darwin never said this, but that's not the point of the argument. The point of the argument is that there is wisdom in this quotation. And I want you to take a look at this. Well, it has been said that it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most adaptable to change. Today, I spend most of my time doing webinars, and I do television guestings and interviews. I still do a lot of writing and business consultation with my clients, but everything now has changed methods, but I'm still doing the same. COVID-19 has changed our lives tremendously. It came as a tremendous surprise. Business experts miss this. Sociologist experts miss this. The academics miss this. Politicians miss this. Can you imagine this? Even fortune tellers and feng shui experts miss this. That's why today they're having problems with credibility. I mean, how could something as huge as COVID-19 be absent from their fortune-telling radar? Well, one feng shui expert told me at the start of the year, and this person says, you know, Francis, 2020 will be the best year for business. And I said, why? Explain. He says, because it's going to be the year of the rat. Well, let me take a look. Maybe he was right all along. It is the year of the rat. Why? We go out to get food. Next, when we get food, we come home and store it to eat it later. Next, every time we see people, we run away. Maybe that's the rat part that he was saying. However, even though the times are strange, and in the process of adaptation, as we pivot, we change with a purpose, understand one important thing. The methods may change, but the mission remains the same. Let me repeat that. The methods may change, but the mission remains the same. I was listening to the very testimonies that you guys were giving. You have a good business. You have a system. You have good products. They don't change. You may be changing your methodology, but the way you present, the way you cater to the needs of your consumers and to their needs and solve their problems, they don't change, do they? And that's why business people like you and me, we should never give up hope. COVID-19 is an unprecedented event, and unprecedented events will always bring in unprecedented challenges and problems. But that's just one part of the deal. You gotta look at the other end of the deal. An unprecedented event will also bring in unprecedented opportunities, provided you and I manage the situation well. Well, we need to look at things from a macro perspective so that we broaden our horizon, we take a look at the big picture, and we don't see things only from the narrowly small space that we occupy, or else we're going to be overwhelmed by the situation. We got to take a macro look. That's why successful business people like you guys, you know that you should monitor and measure and carefully observe the different developments that are happening in the business world now. And then if you were to compare what's happening now compared to the very start of the lockdown, everything is so far now. Business and entrepreneurs like us, we cannot afford to give up hope. And so that's why I want to congratulate you guys. And you guys have been doing a great job. So watch this. Here are the developments that you and I cannot run away from. Take a look at this pandemic. By the way, what is a pandemic? Let me explain. A pandemic is simply an epidemic with passports. It has gone global. It has crossed borders. And so, as this virus poses as a health risk for you and me, the uniqueness of this virus is that it takes a couple of days before the symptoms begin to show, and then the high transmissibility is what makes it very difficult to manage. Therefore, there's no cure yet. The only thing that you and I can do is to cooperate and then help curb the spread. That's all we can do. Maybe that's the reason why, since this is an unprecedented event, governments all over the world did not exactly know how to deal with it, and we don't blame them. They put lockdowns, quarantine, and all these lockdowns have enforced by governments has led and forced the economy to an induced sense of coma. Now we're learning. Everybody's learning. We've got more information about COVID-19 today compared to the day when it started, and so things are always changing. Consider the following developments. Work from home. I've got news for you. In the business field that I operate, you got to trust me. Work from home is here to stay. I see a coming blended way of certain days working from home and certain days going to report to the physical office. Ever since Jack Dorsey of Twitter announces that we're going to be sending our people to work from home forever, guess what happened next? All the big boys from Silicon Valley's tech company began to echo the same. Google says we're going to be sending our people to work from home until July of 2021. Uber now says we're going to be sending our people to work from home until October of 2021. Now you have to connect the dots. And then when you listen to Dr. Fauci, who's got a new book now, and he says, well, I think that the vaccine will be made available for everyone in the world maybe by the second quarter of 2022. Connect the dots. I think this situation is going to be with us for a while. So what do? We adapt. Work from home is a new method that many of us, are adapting to. And every new methodology requires new talents and skills. Let me just give you one funny example. A lot of people still do not understand how to do virtual conferencing. You know, when I see them on the screen, I see them looking down on their screen. I see some people looking up at their screen. And what you don't understand is that camera on your laptop and your computer has an automatic sensor that adjusts itself to the light exposure. So if you're facing your camera with a strong light behind you, like the window open on the perfect sunny day, that camera is going to adjust, and then you turn so dark, it looks like as if you just enrolled in a witness protection program. What are the common expressions you hear today? There are the common expressions you can hear today are, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Unmute more, unmute. What are the things you usually hear? Well, babies crying and dogs barking and cars honking. What are the typical things you see? Unshaven faces, uncombed hair, and so forth and so on. People are a lot more forgiving now. But that's not acceptable. They have to change and they have to look presentable, especially when they are presenting to their clients too. So it's a skill that many of us will have to learn. I'm going to go through this very quickly and to show you the developments that I see happening in the marketplace. Digital is the new default. You and I are entering a contactless economy. When COVID-19 broke, what you and I have been doing, these are not yet innovations. These are mere adaptations. Breakthrough innovations, they're going to come later on once this thing settles. The key to business restoration is consumer confidence. We still don't have that yet. And so, pandemic has eliminated a lot of bureaucracies and egos. Today, I find the acceleration of learning and transformation now goes so fast, there's absolutely no resistance. And then people begin to learn a lot of new things very, very fast. Some random thoughts you might want to consider. I've got clients and I've got business people asking me, well, Francis, what do you see about this pandemic? Is this an interruption or is this a disruption? My answer has always remained the same, neither. It is not an interruption, it is not a disruption, it is a total reset. It is like the whole world is similar to a computer hard disk that you subjected it to a total rebooting system. You and I are going back to a world that is practically unrecognizable compared to the world that we just came from just a few months ago. And so we have to adapt. We pivot. We change. Some more thoughts I want you to understand is this. Crises very rarely create failure. It does. Some people fail because of crisis, they can't handle it. But actually, in my many years of doing business, crisis does not create failure. Crisis accelerates failure. During good times when the economy was bright and rosy, there are fissures and defect. Maybe in your organization, maybe in your career, maybe in your life, in my life, that we can easily keep it hidden and you don't notice it. And suddenly, the crisis accelerates it and then reveals the cracks and the fissures, and then the business fails. Similarly, crisis does not create momentum. Crisis will always accelerate momentum. If you and I are doing things correctly, that momentum now is being caused also by the crisis such that it puts us in a very beautiful place of leadership, ready to take the lead later on. And then this momentum also forms the cradle of breakthrough innovations. That's the place I'm awaiting. I'm very excited to take a look at the new innovations that's going to come out as a result of this crisis. Study history. Every big pandemics and crisis in the past is followed by breakthrough innovation. I'm going to give you one good example. Today, we are oftentimes being compared to the Spanish flu, right? Millions died during the Spanish flu. But during the Spanish flu, there was this company with their product that was not gaining any momentum in the market because people were not interested in it. But right after the Spanish flu subsided, that product and that company became the leader in that industry. And until today, they're still enjoying that leadership. Do you happen to know what product I'm referring to? It's called the Dixie Cup. Paper cup becomes a breakthrough innovation. Next, let's come closer to home. Let's talk about SARS. We've got friends from Malaysia and we've got friends from everywhere else. SARS hit Singapore, hit Hong Kong, and hit South Korea and China, obviously. When SARS subsided, guess what happened? The breakthrough innovation was e-commerce, B2B. Suddenly, online shopping entered into another phase that nobody ever expected to be that famous. And today, it's just part of our daily lives. Every time there is a pandemic and a crisis, it offers the cradle of breakthrough innovation. And that's where I'm excited about. Well, the one thing that I need to let you know now is this, which I'm going to remind you is this. COVID-19 is not the end of the world. This too will pass. And COVID-19 is not a dead end. It is a mere detour. And we got to take advantage of this. We got to make sure that our mission never changes, although we change in our methodology, but we prepare ourselves to be in a better place and to take the lead and to explore and exploit opportunities that will come. So how do we do that? The question now is, yeah, I know what you're talking about, Francis, but how are we going to navigate terra incognita or unrecognizable terrain, most specifically in the middle of a pandemic like this? Well, I've got a few ideas I want to share with you, which I hope you're going to find useful, all right? Well, let me start with the first one. The first is this. You got to make sure you have the right perspective in your mind. In other words, you got to understand your purpose. A lot of people wander into life. They don't understand why they're doing what they're doing. A lot of people also go through different seasons of life. They haven't got the faintest idea why they're there and what they should do. Purpose is very, very, very powerful. The power of purpose. Well, right perspective says this situation is not unique to you. Every crisis creeps into our being a fear that sends chills up our spine. And that is because people do not have the right perspective. The right perspective is to understand an unprecedented event like this is going to sharpen my character. It is going to make me deepen my understanding of my purpose in life. Well, let me bring you a perspective. What is the purpose of doing business? We have been taught that the purpose of doing business is to make a profit. That's what we've been taught. And trust me, I spend the majority of my life now doing business. Whether you make a profit, you earn money, or you lose money, or your business goes down, these are not the purposes. These are outcomes. But the purpose of doing business is that you've got something that you can add value that can solve somebody's needs and problems. And when you do your job correctly, that purpose is now rewarded by profit. It becomes a delightful reward for a job well done. This differentiates those who would join our organization and say, because I want to make money. But that's not the main purpose. Others naman, oh, I want to join this company because we've got a good product that can cater to the need of the people who are having problems, and I offer a solution to that problem. Their perspective is deeper. Ergo, what happens now? Their behavior is better. Their earnings and the money that they make is always a lot more. But that's not the point. Earning money is the easy part. Sustaining the success, that is sustainable now because that person understands the purpose. So you got that perspective in mind. The second thing I want to share with you now is this. You got to make this situation, this pandemic situation, a platform for character development. In other words, this is your passion part. If I'm going to ask you a question, how do you define passion? I'm going to correct a lot of misconceptions about passion. Before the pandemic, you hear a lot of speakers telling you, follow your passion. I mean, you run after your passion, the money will run after you. No, it's not going to happen, all right? A lot of people think that whatever it is that you love doing that will make you happy, that is your passion. No. I know so many happy addicts and losers out there. That's not passion. So what is passion actually? You know, you can turn into the dictionary and try to look up the word passion. The word origin for passion in Latin always means suffering, isn't it? And that's why Mel Gibson came up with the movie, what? The Passion of the Christ. It is the willingness to go through the system of building your business and going through sometimes sleepless nights, sometimes going through the difficulty of being refused by the customers and then picking yourself up again, going through hours and hours of nonstop training, improving your competence. These things make you happy at first. You gotta be kidding me. But because you understand that these things are important to bring you to where you are, to where you want to be, from where you are, then you develop the passion. And then that passion now makes you mold and shape your character. You become persistent. You become strong. You become wiser. And you become more tolerant of discomfort. You become more mature. And so, we gotta use this pandemic as a situation now to mold our character. This pandemic changes everything. Everything is being changed. Everything is still changing. You will change. I will change. The whole world is changing. We just gotta make sure that we are changing for the better. This is the best time that we scrap off our excesses and all our excess garbage and baggage that will not add value to our goals in life and also in business. And so, use this opportunity now. Learn, study, be serious with the training. Whenever there's a crisis, actually there's no option. We just gotta work harder, don't we? Now, some people are going to say, you know, because of this crisis, I can't sell anymore. Who's going to buy? And then others who are making it and then raking it in, others will say, this is a crisis. People have needs. I have solutions that can offer them and meet their needs. And guess what? This is a crisis. While other people are still wallowing in misery, it lessens the competition now. And so the few, the proud, the Marines, I mean, these are the champions. These are the ones that's going to put themselves in the unique position of leadership. Training is important. Some people look at training as a fun thing to join, but no, training actually molds you and then empowers you, and training shapes you. And let me tell you why training is so important. You know, my advice for my clients, in fact, as a matter of fact, right after this, I will be speaking to a huge conglomerate of our Philippine corporation, maybe about 30 minutes after I'm done. I'm going to tell them, guys, whenever there is a there is a crisis, two things are removed from companies. Number one, marketing and advertising. They remove that. Number two, it's training. You got to learn the history from the past crisis before. Companies that slashed their advertising, marketing, and specifically companies that slashed their training every time the crisis happened in the past, compared to those who continue training their people, and then compared to those who creatively use their budget now into creative new ones and niche marketing, they always ended up as the top when the things now begin to settle. Why is training important? Let me just give you a very logical explanation. When products and services are all equal and alike, only slight differences. You go to a bank, you go to an insurance company, they're practically equal and alike. The only competitive advantage you will have is that your people, your leaders, you will have to outsmart, outthink, outperform, outbehave, and outsell your competitors. It's the very simple logic behind the need to be trained. And you become better. Every time you get training, it's something that you bring along with you that nobody can remove from you, nobody can steal from you, and it sticks with you forever. Let me give you the third one. So what do we have the first one? The first one is you got to understand your purpose. The second one is you got to understand your passion. The third one now is you got to manage your work and your home activity correctly. In other words, you have to pursue productivity. There are 4 things you need to downsize today. What are they? Number 1, downsize your stuff. You don't need too much things. In a pandemic situation, I don't think you carrying your Louis Vuitton, Hermes, and Chanel would make much sense, would it? So, this pandemic has taught us the difference between what is essential and valuable and what is bling and what is fluff. Next, you got to downsize your schedule. What do I mean? You got to make sure that you're not spending too much time watching Netflix and then doing video games and then doing a lot of things and doing too much TikTok, all right? Number 3, you got to downsize your unrealistic expectations. In other words, are you still comparing yourself to the other people? Why don't you compare yourself against yourself? And try to ask your question, am I today a better version compared to the one that expired last night? And number 4, you got to downsize your negative thoughts. Here's my quick suggestion. Don't do doom scrolling. Don't do doom surfing. Don't fixate yourself on the news. You're going to let negativity creep into your mind. And by the way, as you are watching Netflix, now watch inspiring movies. Don't watch World War Z. Don't watch MEV-1 virus contagion. And for the life of me, I don't understand why a lot of our people now in our country love to watch the #1 most viewed film in Netflix now, which is called Alive. Oh my goodness. Take a look at those pictures. They don't look alive to me. They look like they're dead, don't they? And then here comes now Halloween. Hey, take care of your mental health. Take care of your mind. Don't let negativity creep into your mind. Don't watch horror movies, all right? Somebody says, if you're feeling lonely and alone, you go to your room, turn off the lights, watch a horror movie. And after watching a horror movie, you will never feel like you're alone anymore. Duh. Hey, watch inspiring movies, read good books, listen to podcasts, attend your training, talk to your upline, those that are performers, and ask them questions. Fill your mind with good things. You know what the Bible says? Whatever things that are good and lovely and honorable and pure, let your mind dwell on those things. Because everything begins here. And so what do? You become productive. You exercise, you eat right, you don't go into mindless munching. And those routines will help you concentrate on your priority tasks. So let me just summarize all of these things. Number 1, well, you got to have passion. You got to have purpose. You got to have passion. You got to be productive. And then this COVID-19 is not the end of the world. This too will pass. COVID-19 is not a dead end. It's just a detour. And COVID-19 forms and shapes our character so that one day all things will make sense. And when we look back to the day, we're going to even think that this thing happened because of COVID-19. We have become better. Congratulations and thank you for having me. God bless you.